All right, welcome back to Impossible Versus Matches, the show where we take pop culture characters and we try and figure out how they're supposed to, go together, cross over. Join with me is my good friend Preston.
Hey y'all, how we doing? Can't really
Preston has
respond back, so
my bad.
rhetorical question.
Yeah, but Preston has not been on the show in quite a few episodes, and we've made some changes. We still both have a list of pop culture characters, and we're going to mesh them together in a crossover. But now we are just doing 2 scenarios per episode, make things a little bit shorter and sweeter. But Preston, would you like to go first this episode, or would you like me to go first this episode?
Um, man, it's been a while, so I'd like to go first.
Okay, fair enough. So I'm going to go ahead and spin my wheel for you.
Alrighty.
For those of you just joining us on the show for the first time, first of all, you are joining super late. There's so many more episodes for you to check out. Go right ahead and take a look into them. Both of us
Don't catch on up.
have a list of 50 pop culture characters. I'm spinning my wheel, so I get a character or set of characters, whatever, and they're going to have to go against whoever Preston's character is, and he's just got to figure out how they come together in like a crossover fight, kind of like Freddy versus Jason. And we're just not focused on the fight, we're focused on how they get to the fight, if that makes sense. If it doesn't make sense, there's a bunch of other episodes where I explain it a little bit better. I'm a bit rusty. I haven't recorded an episode in about a month, even though I've been uploading constantly every Tuesday and Thursday, 3:30 p.m. So,
Plug.
yes, that's right. Like and subscribe. Smash that bell. It's your boy. Preston, you're dealing with Team Rocket.
Oh boy, I'm
Yep.
blasting off again.
Yep, you are dealing with Team Rocket. Now, I did say Team Rocket, so you do get the option to do the Jesse James Meowth trio from the Pokemon anime, or if you feel like it, they're not as fun, but you can use the game version with Giovanni and his henchmen.
I'm gonna go with the show version. Jesse
That is
James Meowth.
that is more fun.
Yeah. And they're gonna be going up against. I got this wheel spinning, so bear with me. Hopefully it's a good one. Oh boy. Geez, they got a lot of trouble on their hands because they're going against Ashy Slashy, Sir Ash Williams from The Evil Dead.
Ooh, Ash Williams. I am making that's actually really funny. It's Ash versus Team Rocket. Um I am going to allow this. We have used Ash Williams before, but he was going against the girl from the Perfect Dark video games. Joanna Dark, that's her name. And
Okay.
honestly, that was not an interesting matchup at all. So I definitely want to listen to Ash Williams versus Team Rocket. We can totally reuse this character.
That would be dope, man. Because I got a pretty good scenario here for them.
I am
to where
really looking forward to it.
I think this is gonna really rile up the fans of both the genres here. So
Okay.
we've got a classic Ash Williams hanging out in his trailer one evening with some dame that he's kicking it to. They're having a good old time, doing a little bit of drugs, a little bit of extracurricular activities,
Right.
and all of a sudden, out of nowhere, Ash's trailer that he's hanging out in kind of gets like a big thud, like
Okay.
a little earthquake or something goes off, right?
Yeah.
And that's actually the result of the of Team Rocket landing in the trailer park in which Ash is located after having just dealt with Thunder Blast or Thunderbolt, whatever, from Pikachu and Ash. So Team Rocket's going from one Ash to another. They're just literally going to be in a pile of ashes after this.
Oh, that's funny. Nice work. That was some good play, man. That was a bar.
I appreciate it, man. And so they've just landed in the trailer park where Ash is trying to get the hanky panky going on, and he's like, "What in Jehovah's Witness was that?" And he goes and he checks outside of the trailer, and he sees the little crater of explosion, dust, and rubble where Team Rocket had just landed. Now he's like, "Hold on, doll, I'm gonna go and peep this one. Better go by myself." So he grabs Old Faithful there. I forget what he actually calls his shotgun, but he grabs his boomstick, goes out there, and tries to check out what the scene is because he's not sure what to think of it. You know, he's seen some crazy shit. So he goes and he checks out this hole, and as he's checking it out, it's kind of deep. It's pretty dark. There's a lot of smoke. It's hard to see. And then all of a sudden, out of the smoke comes Ekans. We got, I think it was James's Ekans. Or maybe no, it's Jesse's Ekans.
Jesse's got Ekans, James is coughing. So,
that's it.
You're using early series. Okay, fun.
Yeah, man. So so we got Ekans' eyes that just appeared through the smoke. Yeah. And it pounces out, or actually more or less, Ash thrown off by this. He sees the eyes, he's like, "Whoa, what in the hell?" And he fires off a bullet. And he hears this little voice going, "Oh, what the hell, man? You can't be doing that. You gotta watch what you're doing." And he's like, Whoa, show yourselves." And that was Meowth being like, "You're freaking crazy, guy." And he's like, "You better watch what you're doing." And Ash is like, "What in the hell? This is some sort of witchcraft witch cat."
Yeah, and I've seen Pokemon before.
Yeah, he's never seen Pokemon. He thinks that it's a weird form of demon. Also, he's kind of like blaming it. He's like, "Wow, these demons look trippy from this freaking drugs that I've been doing, man." And he's like, this isn't good. He's like, "I thought I took care of this shit a long time ago." He's like, "I wasn't reading anything tonight. I don't know what's happening." So he's starting to get a little bit of like paranoia and PTSD right on the spot here because he's seen some weird shit. He doesn't know what to do. And he's a little bit under the influence. Well, we're going to say moderately under the influence. And he's having a bad trip. So I don't know if you've seen the show at all, but basically they referred to Ash as the Hefe. At least this one character does, which basically means he's like the, slayer of, demons of the Necronomicon.
I've seen the original Evil Dead movies and the Evil Dead remake, but I have not seen Ash versus Evil Dead yet.
Word, the show is awesome. I'm gonna use his name, the Hefe.
Okay.
And he starts to get these flashbacks and being like, I am the Hefe, and I need to scorch the earth of these demon plague. Really starting to get into it. Really starting to have a bad trip. And this is when Jesse and James and Meowth are all like, "Whoa, this guy's crazy. We can't even ask him what his name is because he's probably about to kill us. He's got that crazy look in his eye." And so sure enough, he does. And James tries to do some quick thinking and is like, "Oh, I'm going to create more of a smoke screen with coughing and we could try to escape." And he goes to do so, and he throws his Pokeball at Ash. And
he tries to catch it.
He throws a Pokeball at Ash, and little does he know that it's not actually coughing inside that Pokeball. It's just a blank Pokeball. It's got no Pokemon in it. Right. And it just ends up hitting Ash in the forehead as if it were like a rock. And he's like, what the hell kind of Neanderthalic tactics are this that you're trying to kill me with pebbles? And that's when Ash is like, "Okay, I've got something for you." And he goes back to his trailer. And as he's scouring within his trailer, Jesse and James are trying to flee the trailer park. And as they're trying to flee the trailer park, they're gated in. They don't really know what to do, except for they're trying to they find this little hole in the fence, and they're trying to get underneath it. And they get underneath it, and right as they get underneath it, here comes Ash Williams, man, in his freaking, I forget what he has. I think it's like a Monte Carlo or a El Camino or something. He comes ripping through the fence with his chainsaw arm just attached, just
Right.
on the side. And he's basically gone full Mad Max mode at this point.
Yeah.
He's like, I've got to eliminate these cartoons, otherwise this trip's not going to end. And so he's going psycho, and Jesse James, they're running. They don't know what to do. They're basically like, oh, Jesse James, this is it. This is the end of it. We've gone from one ash to another, and it's all ashes to ashes from here. And Meowth just goes, yeah, that's right. And
that is, oh my god, that was such good 4Kids Pokemon dub writing. I'm so proud of that. Thank you.
Oh shit. And Meowth actually says something like a little bit more whimsical that's just like, yeah, Ash to Ashes, better get our urns ready. Meowth, that's right.
That's
and then pretty much you can pretty much call it from there. It's either man and animal versus car, or man and animal versus chainsaw and car, or just chainsaw. So
and that's when the screen actually gets smaller and says to be continued.
Yep. It gets smaller. Maybe it does a little JoJo. Do.
Will Team Rocket escape this madman? Find out next week on Pokemon.
Find out next week on Pokemon. The
All
next
right,
crossover episode of Evil Dead Mad Max Pokemon.
And immediately goes into, all right, kids, we about to wrap some Pokemon.
Yeah.
Oh, that is...
And they just start rapping the demons from Evil Dead.
That's perfect. I was sold, but then I was fully committed once you did the ashes to ashes joke, because I could totally see. So like the whole time you were painting this picture for me, I'm imagining it all in the art style of season 1 Pokemon. So it has like that early anime feel. And
hell yeah.
And like they're running away, and she's like, that like, from one ash to two ash, it's all ashes to ashes from here. And James like, and dust to dust is what we're going to be.
Yeah, exactly, dude.
Or they're running away, and James is like, but eat my dust to dust. And the big like cloud behind them. That is really good, and that is not where I expected you to take this at all. But I really liked that you had it where they're landing after blasting off.
Hell yeah.
And like landing at the trailer park. If
had to make it relatable, and that's the fun of the game, is that you never know how it's gonna go. You don't know how well somebody knows the material, how well they don't, and how well they can cohesively put it together.
That's right. That's the whole heart of the show, and it's really just improv until lightning strikes, and then we figure it out. I didn't expect you to use Ash versus Evil Dead version of Ash, but that's mainly just because I haven't seen the show. If I was to do like a B-side to this, I would have done it with like, this is at the end of Evil Dead 2 Ash.
Okay, like leading into Army of Darkness.
Yeah, he gets sucked into the portal, but instead of ending up in like medieval times, he ends up in Lavender Town. And this actually ties in because Lavender Town is like the haunted area of the Kanto region of Pokemon. And like he goes into the tower and finds the ghost, so he figures, he's got to be, fighting ghosts. And then Team Rocket has a plot, in the original games in Lavender Town.
Yep.
So this would be the Jesse James Team Rocket, and they're, bumbling in there, but he thinks Pokemon are like deadites or demons, much like what adults thought Pokemon was in the 90s.
So yeah, dude, so it makes a lot of sense, honestly, if you think about the matchup.
Like, I mean, you remember all that, like when Pokemon like was really big and everyone and
oh, dude, I definitely remember that, dude.
Creatures are like, these are satanic creatures.
Dude, I definitely remember that.
These are demons that children befriend and form relationships with.
It's like, dude, they're on a fucking Pokemon. They're on a card. It's like, what are
Yeah.
they gonna do? They're gonna try to summon this thing? Nah, man. They're gonna battle it against this other piece of paper.
This is bringing gambling to our schools, and that thing. That was a thing. I remember that. Like,
Oh, dude, it definitely was, man. The kids
yeah.
were freaking trading cards left and right, buying them left and right.
My I had two elementary schools. My second one had cards banned because of the gambling. The first one was okay, but the second one not so much.
Damn, that's wild.
Yeah, but no, that's good, and I'm glad that you really nailed that four kids dub of Jesse and James, like their writing, because they always spoke in puns, or like the first few episodes especially, when because you're using coughing and Ekans.
Oh yeah, oh
And
yeah.
about halfway through that first like series they evolve, but when they have coughing and Ekans, they pretty much speak entirely in rhyme too for no reason.
Oh yeah, man. That's what I went for their most iconic and notable, traits and qualities within that,
Yeah, that's
stuff that
definitely.
can relate to a lot of the OGs, and even if you're an OG and you're watching the new stuff, they still got those,
Yeah,
mannerisms.
I could also see, like, for absolutely no reason at all, like Team Rocket decides to take Ash's trailer away, like with their hot air balloon. Like,
Take it away.
yeah, they're just like, the boss could really use an RV or something stupid like that. And it
This
just
can
happens.
make a nice guest house.
Yeah, or they take his car, and that just pisses him off because he's got a cool car.
True, true.
The boss would really like this El Camino. Or whatever he drives. Oh, that's a good scenario, man. That's a good scenario. I really like that. That's a. I can already see that being the title of this episode. Actually, I mean, it's
Ashley
perfect.
Slashy versus Team Rocket.
I mean, it's perfect. It is still Ash versus Team Rocket. It's just the other Ash.
Yeah.
Like people have always joked about Ash Ketchum and Ash Williams. I've seen it many times, but I don't. But I rarely see like, well, what if it was just Ash Williams versus Team Rocket?
Yeah, dude. Especially too because they're like clothing palette, you know? Kind of
Right.
similar, dude.
Doesn't doesn't he have like a male and female companion in the show as well?
Yeah,
So he has a Brock and a Misty.
basically. Actually, yeah, pretty freaking much, dude, because Pedro honestly could play Brock in like a live action freaking Pokemon because he's got the bushy eyebrows, he's got the high and tight hair that he could make spiky. It's naturally kind of curly.
Yeah.
Uh, he's that skin tone, uh, and freaking yeah, dude. He just needs to close his eyes, and he's got the bushy eyebrows and everything, dude. It would work.
The matchup wrote itself. It's perfect.
It's glorious.
All right. Well, you know what? Let's move on to the second and last one of this episode. Go ahead and spin the wheel and see who I've got.
All right, my man. So we are spinning.
While you're spinning, the character I got is someone I actually just added. It's Steve Zissou or Zissou. Are you
From
familiar?
I am not.
He is Bill Murray's character in the movie The Life Aquatic with Steve Zissou.
Oh man, that is one movie that I have yet to see that I need to see. That's
Oh,
Wes Anderson, right?
yes, it is, and it is personally my favorite of his movies. It's very good. Lots of heart in this one for sure, and lots of definitely like a big theme of failure and like moving past like not holding grudges, stuff like that. Very good movie. It's up there with Grand Budapest as my favorite Wes Anderson movies. Um,
Hell yeah, man. Anderson is great, and that's one movie that I've definitely wanted to see. And you know what, dude? That actually works out really well because, in relation to aquatics, and I'm not sure if this character's been used yet, but old Greg, old Greg, it's old
Oh,
Greg,
the mighty Boosh.
our friendly
Yeah.
scaly manfish.
I remember when Mighty Boosh was on Adult Swim for a very short time. And that's where I learned that's what Old Greg was from, because it was something that people quoted like even before it was on Adult Swim, and I thought people were just making it up. I think some people still don't even know that it's from a TV show, honestly.
Yeah, no, definitely. Some people
Yeah.
don't get that.
So real quick, because I have seen his episode, but can you tell me, does he appear like again, or is he like a one-off character?
To be truly honest, I believe he's a one-off character, but I'm not. I haven't seen enough of the Mighty Boosh to know if he is a reoccurring character or not. But I
Okay.
believe he's only shown up once.
So give me a quick briefing on, because all I know is like what he looks like and
Yeah,
like the
basically
health.
his introduction is like the secondary character of the show, uh, more or less is out on a river fishing one night, and he ends up getting a bite that he thinks or pulling up
Okay.
this person who tends to or who is known to be Old Greg, who is basically a what seems to be transgendered uh, scaly manfish
Hmm.
uh, because he's got a mangina that he claims, and he tries to lure this fisherman into his cave and wants to have romantic relations with him, and
Okay.
basically just tries to convince him to love him by being really creepy.
I see. And so is he like a fish person or is he like a seaweed person? Because he looks like seaweed to me.
He's got seaweed on his head and like on parts of his body, but he claims he's a scaly manfish.
Okay.
He says, "I'm a scaly manfish. What are you doing in my waters?" He says, "Would you? Could you love me? Could you learn to love me? Why do you play these love games with me?"
Okay. I think I've got this. I've got this. But for people who do not know who Steve Zissou is, because I'm sure a lot of people do not know who Steve Zissou is. Um, so are you familiar at all with the movie itself?
No, not really. I mean, I know the artistic style behind it. I've seen screenshots. I know what like the costuming's like and stuff.
Right.
And basically, the setting is pretty much on a boat most of the time in the water, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So basically, first off, very beautiful movie. Like it's shot, Wes Anderson style. It has that like storybook kind of feel to it, very pastel. But whenever they go underwater, like all the fish are done in like a stop motion style. Like a stop motion animation, and they're all like fantasy like versions of like seahorse and little fish and squid and stuff like that. Um to get an idea of what they look like, Henry Selick does all the stop motion on that movie, and he did like he's the actual director of Nightmare Before Christmas, and he also does like Coraline and Paranorman, like those movies.
Oh, I love all of those.
Yeah, so he does. They're very like small parts, but he does like all the fish in Life Aquatic, and
Okay.
so basically, Steve Zissou is a parody slash homage to the real life Jacques Cousteau. So he's like a marine biologist. He's got his like red wool cap on, and he goes around doing like little marine adventures with his ragtag team of a misfit film crew, which is part of why I love the movie so much. Like he's got like college interns there as well, and he's got like the boom mic guy, and he's got the guy that does like the audio recordings and stuff, and like the cameraman and his his first mate, whose name I is unfortunately escaping me right now, is played by Willem Dafoe, and he's like German.
Oh,
And
yeah, I know. I know what his character looks like.
yeah, and
I don't know him.
they have kind of a dynamic like kind of like Dwight from The Office, where like he really idolizes Steve Zissou, and
Oh,
like
okay.
there's like his
They
right
got a bond.
everything.
They got a bond. You don't want to know about it here.
Yeah. Yeah, they got a bond. But basically they go around and like find fish or things, and they film documentary films about these marine creatures. And but the thing about Steve Zissou is that most of it is bullshit. So um like they have a good time, but a lot of it is like a lot of people think it's faked, stuff like that. But basically he's a marine biologist with a film crew, and he rides around on his ship, the Belafonte, which is a very nice like marine biology ship. So it's got a little like window part in the bottom where you can like lay down and observe all the fish and all that. And he's also got dolphins that help locate for him and stuff. You there, Preston? You went muted for a little bit.
Yes, I'm here, man. Yeah, my bad. I heard everything you had said. I was just trying to deal with something with a roommate.
Oh, okay. Yeah, no
I was
problem.
letting you continue to describe it to the audience, though. That's what I was.
Okay. But yeah, so you basically get the gist of it. So he rides around on a ship just looking for marine creatures. In the movie, he's after a spotted, like a leopard shark or something, or it's some sort of shark that doesn't exist. Um, but in this scenario, um, they receive reports of a strange creature that is located somewhere in like swamplands. Where would you say that old Greg lives?
Oh boy. I mean, somewhere in the swamps or like just the murky areas of London.
Okay,
I don't know.
so
I don't know if it's London or Britain, but somewhere in Europe over there that's gloomy.
so okay, so like a boggy area in Europe.
Boggy. Boggy is the
Okay.
place.
So Steve Zissou is like, oh well, if there's a strange creature, then we have to we've got to go track it down. We've got to see this guy. And he's got a pretty decent like following with him. So this is after the events of the movie. And he's got Jeff Goldblum, who's another marine biologist who was his rival. Now they're like buddies now.
Okay.
So, by the way, all-star cast. You got Bill Murray, Jeff Goldblum, and Willem Dafoe, Owen Wilson, and a bunch of others are just slammed into that movie.
What? That is an all-star cast. Holy shit, I got to
Yeah,
see this.
very good. And there's this one actress in the movie who I see her in a lot of stuff, but her name is escaping me. But she's really good. Um, anyhow, so he's like, "Oh well, we got to see this guy. I mean, we can go to Europe for a little bit. That's fine." So he takes the Belafonte, up to Europe, and eventually gets it into like a more boggy area. And he's like, "Well, we can't take our ship, further into this, or we'll get stuck because they got a pretty big ship." Going on, not like a cruise ship size or anything, but like a pretty decent like a swimming like a what's the word, like sea a pretty decent seafaring vessel, I guess. And so he goes down into his observation pod, which is like basically on the bottom of a ship. He has like a glass tube that like juts out from the ship, and he can get in there and take a look at everything. So he goes down there, and what emerges from the foggy depths, but oh hey there, it's me, old Greg. And he's like, oh shit, there's a person down here. So he gets up, he just leaves. He does like his whole like speech to the camera about what he just found, and then old Greg just climbs up the side of the ship and just boards, and he's like, permission to board, and he starts doing his whole thing.
Mission aboard. That's exactly something he would say.
Permission to come aboard. And and he's being just overly just like sexual and weird, and very in line with Bill Murray Steve's character. He's like, um, I really don't like when people make advances at me, and just fucking shoots him. And that's pretty much where this goes. Is he just shoots old Greg? He's like, I'd like him to get off of my boat. So he shoots him. He lands in the water, but he's like, we still have to, study this creature because he's convinced that it's a man.
He's convinced that it's just a man,
Yeah, he's
not
convinced that
actually
it's
a
a
creature.
person because old Greg looks like a humanoid figure. That's not something you usually see in the water, right? So
True.
So him and the Willem Dafoe character go down in their scuba suits and bring him up, and well, they discover what old Greg is, which also is old Greg cannot die. so so old Greg comes alive.
Greg is immortal.
Yeah, he comes alive like on the ship while they're like looking over him, and it's just not a fun time. It basically turns into like a Scooby Doo level chase, like all around the ship.
Oh
And
my god.
until until Steve Zissou is just like, we need to get rid of him. So they they act like they're falling for old Greg's siren song, but they just grab him, throw him overboard, and jet on out of there. But little do they know that old Greg follows them home.
Old Greg would follow them home.
Yep, and
And
that's basically it.
he would continue the harassment at home, which is, I think, a good way to be able to leave it, honestly. Like,
Right.
the way that they could do it is that they like, honestly, when you said that he shot him, I was thinking to myself, I'm like, well, if he's with this expeditional team, right? Now it's like, I could see Bill Murray, just as a Bill Murray type thing, for him to just be like, oh, well, now it's a creature. I have to be a humanitarian in an extent if it is a human. So we got a medic on board. We got to study this creature. We got to try to heal it. And so, like, during the time of Bill Murray and his team trying to mend old Greg, now old Greg has just completely fallen in love with him, and and he's like, I've come to love you. And he's like, do you love me? And he's like, no, not at all. I can't wait to be rid of you, and you're the bane of my existence. And he's like, you're playing these love games with me. He's like,
I
could
could
you learn to love me? Pulling all these old Greg quotes.
I could see
And
a very Bill Murray-esque quote like right before Steve Zissou shoots him. A very Bill Murray-esque quote of be like, I have to put him out of my misery.
yeah, I have to put him out of my misery.
Yeah.
And so he goes to like shoot him again, but old Greg's just sly, and he's like, I can't lose my love this time again. And he's like, I almost lost him once. And so they think they abandon him and they dip back home, but then it ends up being to where you see that old Greg just like follows him home and like kind of like stops with like a swamp thing type of like emergence from the waters
Yeah.
of like him spying on them in their return home.
I
And then that's it.
Yeah. In the end, Steve Zissou would, probably shoot him a few more times and he'd just be like, I need to, be rid of him. But that was a pretty fun matchup, and I'm glad that it was something that would use his marine biologist like background to like bring him to that. So it's another like underwater creature. So it puts them together, but it's still impossible because there's no way a Wes Anderson character is going to meet a Mighty Boosh character in any sort of medium, except for this show. Every Tuesdays and Thursdays, 3:30 p.m.
That's it, brother. That's it. Honestly, I think both of our matchups, they had enough relatable qualities within each other to where we were able to seam them together
Oh
fairly
yeah.
well.
What a wacky episode.
That's definitely one for the books.
Yeah, I'm a fan of this. So that concludes this episode of Impossible versus Matches. I'm Joseph, and I've been joined by my good friend Preston. Preston, where can people find you if you want to plug anything?
Man, just still doing the same works on my YouTube page, PM Prod. Catch me on Instagram. Same deal. And as always, Joe, I love being on the show. Thank you for having me. Hoping to do some more with you in the future.
And we certainly will. In this same recording session. Perhaps.
Just give it 5.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for joining us.